Are you goddamn kidding me? Seriously? Alright, you asked for it. Welcome to the Vodkast. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Vodkast. I am your host, as always, Jason Oliveira, and I'm here to answer a very interesting question. So the short answer is yes, there was a Bradlees in the Silver City Galleria Mall. However, there are a very split group of people who don't believe that there was. I am one of them. I know there was. I'm not contesting the fact that there was a Bradlees both in the old and in the new mall. However, the Mandela effect is an interesting thing to see play out firsthand. Like, I've heard of it before. The Mandela effect is basically the idea that a large group of people believe in something that is absolutely not true, and there's no evidence to prove that it is true. For example, Nelson Mandela. A lot of people believed that he had died in prison in, I believe it was like the mid-'80s, but he didn't. He was fine. And so all these groups of people started to believe it, and it just became like almost like a fact in a way. Even though it's not a fact because it's not real. Santa Claus is real. Don't you goddamn tell me otherwise. So, with that being said, I thought I'd share a few stories of the Silver City Galleria with you. But for starters, I did want to point this out. Look at this. As of the taping of this, I believe it was up to 434 comments were made on that question. Out of the blue the other night, a few of my friends were sitting around and we were Zooming. They still live in Taunton. I'm in Lynchburg, Virginia. And the topic came up of Bradlees being in the mall. My friend Brad, who worked at Lechmere for 4 years, right below it, swears up and down he never saw it. My friend Jen, who now lives out in Hawaii, she worked at Ritz Camera, and she used to go out there and smoke butts all the time, right where the entrance is. But I think that might play into the whole equation, is the fact that, to the best of my knowledge, there was no internal entrance to Bradlees. There's a little piece of me that believes there may have been, though. And that's the thing that's really weirding me out, because it's like a second degree of the Mandela effect. Like, now I'm starting to be like, okay, I understand there was one there. I don't remember it. Many of my friends don't remember it. But there are facts to prove that, yes, indeed, Bradlees was in the Silver City Galleria Mall, right around the opening, or within a few months of it. Yet, people don't believe it. So therein lies the second level. Of this. Was there a mall entrance inside to get to Bradlees, or was it just the external one near the security office? My mouth doesn't want to work this morning. Yesterday, my hands didn't want to work. I had to get marinara sauce. Well, I had to get groceries. And I was going to put the marinara sauce up on... I'm going to get to my stories in a minute. Just give me a goddamn second. What do you want from me? I went to go put the marinara sauce on the belt. It slipped. It exploded at my feet. My shoes were covered in marinara. It blew up my arms, into my crotch, up my shirt, and onto my glasses. And... you know, what are you going to do at that point? So the funny thing is I asked the woman if I could have the paper towels because I needed them for me, but she thought I wanted to clean, which I totally understand that they wouldn't let me clean because of lawsuits and glass and cutting hands and blood. And so, of course, they're not going to let me do that, but I was just asking so I could clean up a little bit, just to wipe myself down, get it off of my shoes. And she was just like, oh, we'd prefer that a Walmart employee do that. And I'm like, yeah, it's for me. And I felt horrible. Anywho. Let's get back to the mall story. My first job at the mall, let's see, what was my first job at the mall? I worked at a few stores at the mall. I worked at JCPenney. I couldn't tell you what year. 94, 95, 96, right around there. There was a Gymboree, which was a kids' clothing store. I helped stock that store. That didn't last long. I worked at Filene's Basement for a little while. I feel like there was one more store that I worked at the mall. My point being is I worked at the mall a lot in my late teenage, early 20 years, as well as a lot of my friends. So it was kind of like a family thing. Like you could be on lunch and go visit your friend at the bookstore and see what was going on with him or her. Or you could go to the camera store and pick up a lens if that's what you wanted to and see your friend Corey and Jen. My point being is that like it was a camaraderie. There was a group of people. My friend Paul Lorenzo was one of them. He worked at the Mountain. My friend Chris Hamlin worked at a few stores there. My friend Tiff. All these people worked together. So it was like, it wasn't as bad. Because when you'd go into the mall and go to work, you knew at some point one of your friends, two of your friends were going to come in and say hi, and you'd take a short break and go smoke a cigarette or something. Or on your break, you'd get to go see them. And so a mall, which is a dying thing nowadays, is really like a living entity into and of itself. Because if the world went to hell and you were stuck in a mall, well, I mean, you got food for a while, you got, shelter, you got everything you could ever need, really. But on a more personal level, I remember, I'll tell you a few brief stories and I'll let you guys go. I've got a huge unboxing coming up probably later today, which I will release later in the week. But I just wanted to share a few of my mall stories with you guys because from about 92 when it opened until about 95, 96, I spent a shitload of time at the mall, as did my friend Corey. We would spend a lot of time there. So when he was working there, there was this one morning where I went to go pick him up, and my roommate at the time, Gary, was with me. And he had to wear a tie at EB Games when he worked at the mall. And we got to Corey's house. Corey got in. We were rushing to the mall because we're always late trying to get to work on time. And Gary realized when we get to the mall that he dropped his tie on the ground but failed to pick it up. Needless to say, this upset Corey because we had to go back for the tie and he was late to open the car. And I think his manager was there that day. Yeah, so that was a real bummer for him. JCPenney. When I worked at JCPenney, I worked there, I don't know, maybe 2 years. I have no idea how long I was there. I worked in the luggage and gift department. And when I worked there, I hated the job. It was stupid and like I was getting paid shit and I don't really like dealing with customers or people if I don't have to. And one day my friend Sean Dennison, who had moved to Georgia, suddenly popped his head in there. I was like, holy shit, I haven't seen Sean in years at this point. So he strolls in. And in the blink of an eye, I made the decision that I was done with JCPenney. So we walked out and we hung out that day and had an awesome day. So, but man, I remember like we had a lot of our friends were studio crew people who who practiced at River's Edge Studio, and like I don't know if there was specific nights that we went, but I remember we would go a lot and would go get food and would hang out at the mall all night. And 9 out of 10 times security would kick us out because we were buying stuff, we would buy food and stuff, but nonetheless, security wasn't thrilled with a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-olds just hanging out at their mall. Do you guys remember when you used to be able to smoke in stores? That was crazy. At the old Silver City Galleria, let's bring this back to Bradlees for just a moment before I let you guys go. I remember being able to see. I can tell you now because you can go burn it down for all I care. I used to live at 85 Winthrop Street, which is right in front of Cohanna Street, and I could walk to the mall on Cohanna Street and be there in 5, maybe 10 minutes. And so I spent a lot of time at that mall as a younger kid. And I remember when Stop and Shop was in there, and I remember swinging a bag of candy once, the grab it and make your bag candy, and it ripped open. And my grandmother told me not to swing it, but she was an awesome lady, and she didn't yell at me. That has nothing to do with Bradlees. Anywho, I have a lot of Bradley stories. Going there to buy Cabbage Patch Kids with my mother, the one on Cohanna Street at the old mall. We used to buy them and resell them, which in hindsight is a terrible thing to do. Like, don't do that. Don't scalp. It's awful. I don't think we made a huge killing, but I think like we basically, were reselling a little bit above cost just to pay back our I guess that's child labor. Did my mother put me through child labor when I was a kid? Huh. So there was, I used to walk there all the time, and I remember one day that one of the bubblegum machines that had rubber bouncy balls was broken. The top was off, and me and my friends grabbed every fucking ball we could, and we went home, and I lived on the second floor, and the Bubbleette, which was, it's a laundromat, but it had a huge cinder block wall, and we would just throw them out my window, and then somebody would have to go down and pick them up again. And I do also remember one time I flicked a penny over the aisles, and it broke a light. Yeah, I never got caught for that one though. that's my story for you guys today. It's amazing to me that I got the response I did. Thank you guys for all your responses. I hope you guys like this video too. If you guys do like this video, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, and hit the little bell icon, because it'll let you know every time I put a video out about Taunton or Oreos or whatever the hell I'm talking about. I miss Taunton sometimes, but I think life is about experience, and for me, it's seeing as much of the world as I can before I die, before I got no more time left. Don't forget to make somebody smile tomorrow, and make yourself a better person tomorrow than you were today tomorrow. Let's make the world spin a little bit happier together. Let's sing and dance in the sun and the rain as one, my brothers and sisters. Live life to the fullest and love every moment of it, because you just never know when that last moment's going to come for you. However, never live in fear of that moment. Always live in love and never let your inner child die. That's super important. Take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and take care of those around you who can't take care of themselves, because they're the ones that need it the most. I'm Jason Oliveira, this is the Vodkast, and I'll catch you guys a little bit further on down the road. Good night, El Capitanos, and sayonara, Silver City Galleria Mall. Your memory will live in my heart forever.